Hello, everyone, and welcome to our main session of Ask Me Anything. My name is Dragica Tomova, and I'm co-chair of SCG Women's Network Student Community. Today, I'm going to be your host, and I'm very excited about today's session because we have a special guest with us, and her name is Draciga Tomova. She's an imaging geophysicist at PGS, so please let me introduce her for the next minute. Jessica's journey began with a strong foundation in geology, which later expanded with a master's degree in exploration geophysics in Italy. Starting as a hands-on geologist, her curiosity for exploration steered her towards geophysics. At a local geophysical company, Draciga specialized in providing shallow geophysical investigations, collaborating closely with construction companies and geologists. This experience refined her skills and prepared her for the next phase of her career. Joining PGS in Oslo opened doors for diverse opportunities. In her current role, she delved into seismic data processing, unlocking the Earth's secrets from vast data sets. The highlight of her PGS journey was working offshore in Malaysia aboard a seismic vessel, immersing herself in the excitement of exploration firsthand. Thank you very much, Jessica, for joining us. Do you
Thank
have
you for
something?
inviting me.
You're welcome. We're happy to have you. So let's move to the first question. That's a traditional question that we ask. Why
Okay.
did you choose to become a geoscientist? Can you tell us why?
Mm. Okay. I think my interest in geoscience started when I was at high school, and in particular when we were studying science, and we started studying about rocks and how earthquakes happen and volcanoes and these kind of things. So I was really fascinated, and I wanted to understand more.
Thank you for that. Um, so you're a seismic imaging geophysicist in at PGS. Can you tell us what a day in your life looks like? Like, what do you do? Whether offshore in the office, processing seismic data. What is the goal? If you're offshore, what are you doing offshore? Are you monitoring the acquisition process? How is it done? Just give us a peep into a day in your life.
Okay. Okay. So my most of my job is done in the office. So as a geophysicist, I'm an office-based geophysicist, and in the office, the main task is to process data. So if I would describe a daily, like a day in the office here in Oslo, I would say it's we usually start around 8:39. So and then we start with processing the data depending on the tasks. We also have, if we work for a client, we usually have weekly meetings with the clients. We also have a lot of training and classrooms, which I think is really good because I feel that here in PGS, big effort is put into learning continuously and forming young geos properly, so giving the right knowledge and tools and support as well to do the job. So yeah, this is so most big part of the time, especially at the beginning, is also given to e-learnings, classrooms, and workshops. But we also have some social happenings from time to time. For example, we have cake every 2 weeks in the office. So we have rotation where different people bring cake. And then we sometimes organize happy hours after work so we can meet and mingle with colleagues in a more informal context. Regarding the offshore day, so I've been offshore only once so far, and I've been for 5 weeks on a vessel in Malaysia. And there it's quite different. The First of all, the seismic processing that is done on board is quite different. It's mainly done for QC purpose and to prepare the data to be sent, written on tape and delivered to the office. And the working hours are different as well. So usually you work 12 hours per day and every day, so there's no break. But it's 12 during these 12 hours you have different breaks, right? So you have lunch, you have dinner, depending on the shift, because you can work day shift or night shift. So you may have dinner or breakfast. And then on the vessel, you usually have some time, like 30 minutes, to go to the gym or to go walk a bit on the heli deck, which is quite important. Working 12 hours also to move a bit and spend some time on that. Mm, yeah, I think that's a big summary of the two different types of days in the office and offshore.
Thank you very much for sharing that, Jessica. I think the LPR is really necessary. You know, creating the type of environment in the office, not just working and working and working. So yeah, thank you for sharing your experience, ma'am. So can you share some of the challenges that you faced as a seismic processing expert? When you worked offshore in Malaysia, can you recall any challenge that you faced while working?
Okay. Um, so if we talk strictly about the seismic processing, um, having had already a bit of experience in the office and using the same tools, so same software that is used in the office, from that point of view, I didn't really face particular challenges. But I think the main challenge was to work in a different environment with different people, and especially people coming from different cultures and different background. So sometimes communication was a bit of a challenge. And the biggest challenge on the vessel to me was the different time zones. So it really took me a lot of time. I think maybe the first 2 weeks to get used to the time zone and the shift. So yeah, I felt quite tired at the beginning.
Thank you for sharing that, ma'am. Seeing that you're working in a male-dominated environment, so what strategies have you found effective in building relationships and collaborating with male colleagues in the offshore seismic processing industry?
Hmm. So the question is how to collaborate effectively with
Yes,
other people, especially offshore.
especially your male colleagues.
Okay. Um, well, I think a good thing to start from is to be aware of cultural differences and not take things personally if somebody says something in a wrong way. I think this is very important. And also, I think spending some time outside of the working hours or the working context, like for example, simply having lunch together and or chatting after work or meeting after work for whatever. I think this also helps in getting to know better your colleagues, and which I think in turn helps to communicate better and work together more gladly.
Thank you for sharing that, ma'am. So, can you recall a moment when you were disrespected in the office at work as a woman? Were
Sorry?
you been disrespected in the office?
Oh, disrespected?
Yes,
Okay.
disrespected.
I have to say, since I work in Oslo, here in the PGS office, I never had this experience because here in Norway, I find that there is very much attention to gender equality and to being respectful towards not only women, but everybody, and treat the people equally. It happened when I was working in Italy, though, that I felt disrespected as a woman almost every day. But that's part of the culture. And I think that unless you don't see and live a different environment, you don't really uh, too much attention to this. But like now that I'm here in Oslo and things are different, now I think about that and I say, oh, okay, maybe that comment wasn't that right, it wasn't correct, it wasn't nice, and these kind of things.
I think it's very important to learn about culture, so you don't get things too personal even when people don't mean it. Yeah. So can you discuss a particular challenging project that you've worked on, and how did you address the challenges?
Sorry,
Did you
can you
get my
repeat the
question?
question?
I said, can
Can you
you
repeat it?
recall a particular? Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I hear you.
So can you discuss a particular challenging project that you've worked on, and how you addressed the challenges,
Okay.
whether
So
it's
a
a project?
particular challenge in a project I worked on. Okay. I think one of the biggest challenges that I encountered here in PGS was my first time when I had to lead a client meeting without the support of my direct superior because of vacation. So yeah, that felt quite challenging, but especially in terms of communication with the client. But what helped for sure was that before that I was prepared because I've attended a lot of meetings with more experienced people leading the meeting, and so I tried to observe and learn as much as possible in how they communicate and how they manage client requests and these kind of things. And it also helped having other people in the meeting that were joining from PGS, joining remotely, and know that if I was in a difficult situation and didn't know to answer to some questions, I had somebody to help me.
Thank you very much for sharing that, ma'am. So, how do you stay updated on the latest advancements and technologies in seismic processing, especially in the context of offshore exploration?
Can you repeat the first part of the question, please?
How do you stay updated on the latest advancements and technologies in the context of offshore exploration?
Mm, I think, if I understood correctly, your question. I think is it related more to PGS or more like in general?
Generally, in
In
general,
general. Okay.
yes.
Well, I think there is still a lot that can be developed, and especially in terms of new applications. of technologies and methods, and not only to application to the oil and gas industry. I'm not sure if I answered your question. Was it correct or?
It's fine. Yes, that's fine. We have a question from Maria Angela Capello, and she says, the her question is, if you have a partner and children, and if you have them, how do you
Mhm.
undo the balance of advancing two careers together? Any tips for that?
I think I lost you. Okay, I think we lost Rodiat, but we should be still live. Can you confirm this? Can somebody confirm this? Okay. Then, in the meantime, I can answer your question, and I hope that Rodiat will be able to join soon again. So, I don't have any tips because I don't have a partner and children yet. So, I'm not in the position of having to handle the balance yet. But I have many of my other women colleagues, they do. And here in Norway, I think it depends on where you work, right? And on the regulations. Here in Norway, it's all almost all the I don't know about the other employees, but at PGS, things are quite flexible. So they try to help you with flexible hours and long maternity leave, and also with the possibility to work remotely from home. So they try to help you in this. Okay, another question from Maria. Oh, Rodiat?
I'm very sorry. I had a
No
power outage
problem.
and I had to join through my phone.
Okay, you're back now. So
Thank you very much.
I answered the first question from Maria, and then I saw in the chat there's another one.
Okay, do you want me to read it out?
Yeah, you can do that. Thanks.
Okay, she's asking that your company is undergoing a merger. Is this
Yeah.
stressful for you? How do you manage the stress that this brings you every day at work?
Okay, this is a very good question. I have to say, when the announcement of the merger came out, it was a bit out of the blue. So I felt a bit stressed, actually. I felt a bit stressed and I felt a bit worried. But Then, of course, we got more information, and I talked with my manager, and now I definitely feel a bit less stressed, lot less stressed actually, because I think that like people in my position, so not too experienced, not too high level geophysicist, shouldn't worry about that. And also, I think this merger will be full of opportunities. So will be a bigger company. So hopefully more opportunities for developing new technologies and doing more interesting stuff, getting different projects as well. Because, for example, in PGS we don't do a lot of OBN, but they do in TGS. So I hope that there will be the opportunity to work on different kinds of projects as well and different types of data. And then I don't really think it's stressful, the everyday work since the announcement of the merger. It's we are just continuing to do our best as usual. The thing I'm most worried about is how will be the company culture, how it will change. This is something interesting to see.
Thank you for answering that, ma'am. I'm sure you've answered that question. And thank you, ma'am, Mariangela Capello, for asking the question also. Yeah, I think we should take our question again. She said, do you think that geophysicists can work in PGS for offshore wind farms?
Okay. So we actually um, started working on some offshore wind farms. Yeah, so we recently won some projects, and in particular for ultra high res acquisitions. And yeah, so for now it's a small part of the workload, but there is effort to make it bigger and to move more towards that direction. Yeah, I hope the answer was exhaustive enough.
Thank you very much for answering the question, ma'am. We have another question from Mariangela Capello, and I'm going to take that again. She said she understands the ocean has a lot of contamination and actually plastic islands. Has this affected your vessel operations? She's curious about that. She wants to
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I perfectly understand. Well, I have to say that I've only been, again, only once and offshore, and I've been in Malaysia. And I was impressed to see the amount, not really plastic islands. We didn't encounter any plastic islands, but I was impressed by the amount of fishing nets that fishers usually just abandon like that. So especially when we were recovering the streamers, we we had a lot of fishing nets attached to the streamers, which then gives noise in the data. Yeah, so we had to go out quite often with the workboat to clean the streamers. But yeah, this is something that is still manageable.
Thank you for sharing that, ma. I hope the particle pollution can actually reduce so that you don't have to clean your streamer. The time you have to do, view processing, you are using it to clean streamers. That's interesting. So I'm going to ask you this next question, and the question is, how do you prioritize safety and efficiency in seismic processing offshore operation, and what measures do you take to ensure compliance with industry standards and regulations?
Okay. Mm, you mean for the offshore operations or?
Yes, for the offshore operations, ma'am.
Okay, I'm not really involved in this kind of things because we have the operations people that take care about this. But yeah, I know that there are a lot of procedures to be followed and frequent updates and trainings. And this is something very important to PGS, especially in terms of safety of people working on the vessels and also environmental safety.
Thank you for the answer, ma'am. So my next question is, in your own opinion, what are the key skills and the qualities that are essential for success as a seismic processing expert in the offshore sector, regardless of gender or background?
Okay, so skills that are essential for success as a geophysicist working offshore? Is that the question?
Yes, that's the question, ma'am.
Okay. So we're talking more about soft skills, right? Not technical skills, or?
You can talk about both.
Okay. Okay. Well, talking about soft skills, I think it's important to be quite flexible, so easily be able to adapt easily to different situations. And yeah, I think this is the main skill, soft skill. And technically, I think that, well, the job offshore is quite different, but I think it's good to have a good practice with the softwares or be able to learn quickly. Yeah, this is also something important. And ask questions, even if everybody looks so busy. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Thank you for that answer, ma'am. I think it's very important for you to, not being afraid of asking questions, because those I know that you are very busy. For example, if you have an intern in your office, I know you can't really have a lot of time for the intern. They have to work on their own, and then they come to meet you when they have questions, and the
Yeah.
geophysicists are really open to answering any questions that you have.
Yeah.
So I know you're working offshore a lot and you're doing seismic processing. So can you talk to us a little bit about multiples? Have you ever encountered them during your processing sequence about multiples? And are there still research that are going on? Because I think I saw some papers and I saw that there was still some research going on about multiples. What are they still trying to find out? Multiple attenuation in offshore environment.
Okay, multiple attenuation in offshore environment. Okay, so we talk about marine seismic.
Yes, Marine.
Sorry, what is exactly the question?
I said, how do you tackle multiple attenuation? And do we still have more research to do on multiple attenuation? Are there ongoing research? Do we need to, do some more developments in technologies? What is the future, and what is currently going on? If you have any experience, that you have with attenuating multiples also. It would be nice for you to share it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I actually have been working quite a lot with multiple attenuation, like on both the projects. I started, yeah, my first projects, I started from multiple attenuation. So yeah, I had a bit of experience. But in PGS, for example, we have some best practices, and we usually follow them based on the water depth and the area of acquisition. But last year, for example, I had the very good opportunity to work for a project where the main focus was to improve multiple attenuation. And we actually were lucky to have a lot of time for testing. So we tested a lot of different approaches. And I'm actually presenting a paper about this at the EHE this year in Oslo. So I can say what worked for us in that case. So it was, first of all, the area is the Norwegian Sea. And after testing different approaches, we found that what helped the most were two things mainly. The first one was a good reconstruction of near offsets thanks to 5D regularization. And this was made possible because the data we were working on was dual azimuth data. So we could use the information from the second azimuth to reconstruct the near offsets for the legacy azimuth. And this helped in generating a more accurate convolutional 3D SRME model. And then the second approach that helped in improving the multiple attenuation in this case was splitting the multiples in the model into fast and slow components, so based on the different move out and the different velocity. Yeah, so this at least for me, this was it was quite interesting and exciting to work on this project because I didn't have a lot of experience with multiple attenuation, but I learned a lot thanks to this project, and I had the chance to try techniques that are a bit out of the usual best practice.
Thank you for sharing that, ma'am. I also have a little bit of experience with multiple attenuation, and it's really given me a lot of headache. And eventually, I was able to remove the multiples in the near offsets, but I ended my internship, so I could not continue. Yeah, so it's really good. So we have a question from Madam Maria Angela Capello, and she said, "Do you have interns in the offshore operations of PGS, and have you received women students abroad?"
No, I don't think this is something that is usually done. I don't think there have ever been interns offshore aboard. Maybe there have been interns as offshore operation people in the office, but I don't think so, because usually people that work in operations here in the office are people that had a bit of experience working offshore. So no, I don't think this would be something easy to do, because to go offshore you need a set of trainings and medical examinations. So it's not that easy, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you for answering that, ma'am. So I want to ask you that I know you're doing seismic processing. So I just wanted to ask you if you do inversion. Do you do full waveform inversion, and all those
Oh, okay.
seismic imaging
So if I
techniques.
do full waveform inversion, no, I hadn't had the chance yet. But for how the work is organized here in the PGS office is that usually you have a VMB team, so a velocity model building team, which works with inversion and velocity model building. And then, so for each project, we usually have the time processing or imaging team, and then the VMB team. So if you're not part of the VMB team, it's not something that you usually do. But there's always the possibility, if you're interested in learning, to be assigned to a project with the VMB. So
Thank you for sharing that, Ma. So, with your experience with attenuating multiples and what the data you've worked on, do you think that machine learning or AI can be applied in any way to ease the process? If you maybe if you have the opportunity and they asked you if you really wanted to automate one of the processes that you worked on during this multiple attenuation process or in any of the processing sequence. So, what processing and technique do you think would be, uh, you know, would be great to have a machine do for you?
okay. I haven't thought about this yet, but it's interesting. And I think maybe the modeling um, would be good to have it done by a machine learning algorithm. And also, I'm not sure if it's possible and how this would work, but also the adaptation of the model to the input data before subtracting. That could be also something interesting.
Thank you for sharing that, now. I hope I'll be the one to build the model. uh, so, so do you have some success habits? Can you share some of your success habits with us?
Sorry?
Your success habits, you know,
My success habits.
yes, please.
Like in terms of a routine, daily work, or
Yes, what you do to be different, what you do to be successful, to just to be you today.
okay. I think one thing is that, well, of course, I try to learn as much as possible from all the opportunities that I'm given, and so both from trainings, but also a lot from people I work with. So I always try to be curious and ask questions, and yeah, and also express if there is something that I would like to work on, or some experiences, work related experiences that I would like to try, or if there is the opportunity.
Thank you for sharing that, ma'am. So, do you want to share anything with us? If you'd like to share, you say you're going to share something with us after the talk. If you still want to share it, now is the time for you to do that. And to our audience, if you have any question, please kindly post them in the comment section. So, okay, I have a question from Azik Jensen. She said, does Draciga Tomova have a banter buzuk? Do you know what that is?
No,
Is that your
I've
language?
never heard. No, I've never heard of it. What is it?
Oh, I think Jensen, please if you can put that bansi bazuk in English, it will be very helpful. Thank you. Okay, so what advice do you have for young women who want to follow in your footsteps? If you want to advise young women.
Okay. So I think one advice could be to don't be afraid to ask for like to ask for things that you would like to do, to learn. And also networking, I think, is quite important. And yeah, also try to be connected to each other, and try to learn as much as you can from the people that mentor you, support you, or from the people you work with. But not only from the people you work with. I feel that sometimes I've learned a lot of stuff also from my friends doing a different type of job, but that things that can be useful or applicable in different settings. So yeah, I think that's what I have to say.
Thank you very
And
much for sharing that.
yeah, and I think patience is also a good thing, because like for me at the beginning, because I graduated when I graduated during COVID time. So when I started looking for a job, so before graduating, I was thinking, oh yeah, I did the internship here, I did this, so it will be easy to find a job, right? And then it wasn't easy at all. So my first job after graduating was actually for a small company made of 3 people, of geologists. So it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but at that time that was my only opportunity, and I took it. And then I learned some useful stuff. And then from there, I started looking for other opportunities. And then another opportunity came thanks to one of my professors at university. So then I started working for this small geophysical company in Italy. And I've worked there for almost 1 year. And then from time to time, I was looking at the job posts, like on LinkedIn, for example, or talking to friends. And then at a certain point, I gave up because there weren't many interesting job posting. But then all of a sudden, a friend of mine contacted me and he told me about this job opportunity here in Oslo. And so I applied. I went through 3 interviews and then I got the job. So what I want to say is that don't give up and be patient. So sometimes the things that we want, the career that we want, the job that we want doesn't come straight away. But the other things we do before that, I think it's still useful and can be used one day, I think, yeah.
Yes, exactly. I agree with you. It's very important. At least you got that job as a geologist, and I'm very sure that you're applying some of those things that you learned now in your job, maybe even offshore. So
Yeah.
yes, thank you for sharing that. So have you ever had mentors, and how did they contribute to your success?
If I had ever mentors?
Yes, mentors. Yes.
Yeah. I did have a mentor during my internship in ENI. And I also had mentors when I started working here in PGS. And I still have, like, I feel like in PGS, like more experienced people are always keen to support you and to teach you not only technical stuff, but also more like soft skills, managing clients or communication or managing the project and these kind of things. And I think it's very important to have a good mentor. I think that's how I learned the most, thanks to my mentors.
Thank you very much for sharing that. And I can also testify to having mentors in my life. And if you're the audience, anybody who wants to have a mentor, but you don't know where to go, you can go to Mentoring 365. The SCG Women's Network provide mentors, and I think some other organizations are in partnership with them. So check out Mentoring 365. And Draciga, you can also join as a mentor to mentor the people that are interested in seeking a mentorship.
Yeah,
So
I think that's a nice thing. It's a nice idea, and since I've been lucky to have good mentors, I'm also keen and I like mentoring younger people, yeah, or less experienced.
thank you for sharing that, ma'am. So yeah, this one last question that I have is for me personally. So do you think that after your bachelor's degree, do you think it is good to get a job afterwards or go for graduate school, maybe for a master's or a PhD, since you already have an experience with it? Could you share some of maybe the good side or the bad side to it? You know.
Okay. Well, I think it depends on on which country you plan to apply for a job. Because at least based on my experience, most of the companies require, or if you want to work for big companies, of course, or if you want to work more like a freelance geologist, it depends on what kind of career you want to follow. But I think for companies like PGS, uh, a master degree is preferred. And in my case, in particular, for example, I studied in Italy. And in Italy, we don't have a bachelor degree in geophysics. So I had to do a master's. I had to do a bachelor degree first and then do a master's. And I think that was a really good choice because I actually had a gap year after my bachelor degree, and I worked something totally different. But I think it helped to make up my mind, and I was really happy then to start studying again and do the master's in geophysics.
Thank you for sharing that, ma'am. So I want to ask you this question that, um, you know, I think most people that go for a PhD, they actually end up doing a research or maybe joining academia. So if, as a seismic imaging geophysicist in PGS now, if you're actually interested in maybe going to do a research about something in seismic imaging, do you have the freedom to do that, even if you're not in their R&D team? Can you do that as a seismic imaging geophysicist?
Yeah, I don't know about other companies, but I can talk about PGS. Yeah, so we have an R&D team, and people with PhD work in the R&D team, right? But also, if you are a geophysicist working in imaging and not in R&D, and you're keen to work on research projects, there is the possibility, yeah, of course, based on projects demands. But there are some people actually here in the office that are more that are involved in research. So you can do both. It's from this point of view, is quite flexible.
Okay, so you don't necessarily have to have a PhD to, join or to engage in a research in a company. Because I was having this discussion with a colleague, and he wanted to go for a PhD because he wanted to be part of their R&D team.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I was just,
I just want to point out, to be part of the R&D team, you need a PhD. A PhD is preferred. In very few cases, they accepted people with only a master's. I don't know about other companies though, but there are also opportunities to work with research, even if you don't have a PhD and you work as a geophysicist in imaging. Yeah, but it's most of the times it's not like a project dedicated fully on research.
okay, thank you I understand. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do you have any other thing to share with us? Any final thoughts? Any advice for the students and the young professionals watching you now?
No, I can't think about anything else. I think I had a lot of good questions, and I was happy about the questions. And I was happy to have the chance to talk about my experience. And I hope I inspired a bit some of you. I think it's important to give more and more, how to say, attention, or to showcase women working in our sector, right? In our industry, especially. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, ma'am. I have one last question because I think I saw PGS post on LinkedIn. That's how I knew you. And so I saw this, computers, a lot of computers. You were sitting in front of computers, and I was wondering, what are you doing with so many screens offshore?
Okay. So you are referring to the post with the pictures from my offshore experience. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's just we usually work with more than one screen, so but not as many as in that picture. But especially when you need to look at seismic, it's useful to have your seismic on one screen, and then on another screen, maybe you have a list of parameters or useful information, and on another one you have some QC maps or location of the survey. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Draciga. We have a comment from Mary, and she said, "Thank you, Draciga, for sharing this insight. I love the parts of clarifying that a PhD is needed in joining the research development team, PGS." I said that was my last question, but we still have some few minutes, so I want to ask one more question.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, yeah. So I want to ask one more question. So my question is, when you're faced with a challenge that you've never seen before in a data,
Okay.
something that you've never worked on before, and you have a deadline to meet. Maybe you're working with a client, or you have to deliver it to your manager. How do you manage it, and how do you get to the bottom of the situation?
Well, usually we have a team of experts. So when we face these kind of challenges, or like something new or that hasn't been encountered before, we seek advice from expert people.
Okay, thank you for that. So, as a seismic imaging geophysicist, what subjects do you think you have to have a strong foundation in? Like, do you need to be very good in physics or in mathematics, or do you just need to have analytical skills or problem solving skills? What are the things that helped you? Do you need to know how Green's theorem work, or do you need to know Fourier transform, the theoretical part? I just want to know.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Well, I mean, I've studied geophysics,
Mhm.
and I felt like when I started working, I had a very good foundation. And I've heard, for example, from people that have studied geologist and started working in seismic processing, they had a bit more difficulties in the beginning. But so yeah, I think foundation studies in geophysics or engineering as well, physics is and mathematics is um, more helpful, but there's nothing that you can't learn, even if you don't have this kind of background. But I, I think it's easier if you have this background. And another thing is that when if you don't work like in the developing team or in research, you don't really need to know all the mathematics behind the algorithms you use or the tools you use in the software to perform certain type of processing. A thing that is very useful and you should know, I think, is what these processes do, and how should your expected result look, and know to find out what didn't work, why didn't work. So a lot of analytical thinking and problem solving, I would say, and also mm, yeah, a bit of a detective as well. So try to investigate and know which tools you have to do that.
Thank you very much. Paying attention to detail and just being somebody with perseverance and grit. Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for for sharing your experiences with us. Do you want to share anything? You want to share anything else before we close the session?
No, I think I said we touched a bit of different topics, and that was nice. Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining. I just want to say thank you for accepting our invitation and taking time out of your evening. And
I was
I
happy.
know.
I was happy to do it. No problem.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for joining us. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.